Mr. Ballantyne is recognized to speak on the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, we've discussed this many times in the budget, and I think there's several amendments that we'll discuss in a little bit, but I do want to take a minute. I'm going to try to get it all out here so that way I don't have to be repetitive, but we have made some changes over the year, particularly from last year until this year, and I want to explain those to you as we continue to work to find the best way to not only keep our costs down in our state, but also that make sure that when and if, normally when, kids graduate with debt, that they're able to be employed in the workforce, hopefully here in the state of South Carolina, and so that they're putting their degrees to good work. So you heard my colleague mention we did change the name, so we did, for lack of a better word, it is tuition mitigation, but we decided to give it the name SC First, and what that stands for is funding innovation and realignment for in-demand skills and talent. And again, this is for in-state students. So the universities, we can charge the people coming from Jersey and Ohio and wherever, we'll charge them whatever we want to charge them, and they can be the free market that we hear about, but we want to make sure that we keep our tuition costs low. Now, a refresher course, remember here in higher education, the state of South Carolina, many years ago, we were more committed, this is my words, we were more committed to higher education than we have been recently. You know, we only fund these universities at about maybe 10% of their budget comes from us. So for lack of a better word, a lot of them could be private and just say, hey, keep your money for all I care, but they don't, and we appreciate that, and we appreciate the focus they have in state. Now, we talk about the carrot. Hey, we will give the universities this particular money, but we want something in exchange. So for the past 6 or 7 years, the request has simply been like, hey, here's the funding we will give you, do not raise in-state tuition. And that's been working, as you've heard, for 7 years. Some colleges have done it 8 years. But for 7 years, with inflation and costs soaring and skyrocketing, our colleges and institutions in your backyard, in our community throughout the 46 counties, have been keeping education low and freezing that tuition. This year, we have another stick. In addition to saying, hey, you're not going to get this money if you raise tuition, we also want them, as we talked about, to educate our students so that they can go into the real world. In our subcommittee hearings, and I appreciate many of y'all that were there with Gilda Cobb-Hunter, Representative Bill Taylor, and myself, I used a very simplistic analogy, and don't laugh, but the analogy was this. I don't think any of us want our kids to have a major in checkers, because if they graduate with a major in checkers, they're not going to get a job in checkers, okay? That's simply put what I used as an analogy to understand. What we want them to do is focus on the STEM education. We want them to focus on science, technology, engineering, and math. And so what we have said is that's part of the proviso. Focus on that. But that's not it. We also want to make sure they're looking to make sure the programs like Checkers that might not be putting kids into jobs, that might have kids have a lot of debt, we want to make sure that they're reducing those, because we do agree there are some inefficiencies anywhere in life, and there are inefficiencies in higher ed as well. So part of the stick is that every year they will have to submit a report, the colleges and universities that receive this SC First funding. Not only do they have to agree not to raise tuition, not only do they have to agree to focus on STEM, raise tuition in-state, focus on STEM, but they also will send a report annually to the governor and to the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee and Senate Finance Committee that talks about what they have done to eliminate the waste and review the programs that the Commission on Higher Ed have said are non-compliant. Several universities, y'all may not be aware, I was not until I was fortunate to be in this position, y'all may not be aware that we have several universities, probably I would argue all universities, that have some sort of non-compliant programs and degrees out there. And so now this year, by listening to testimony through the years, getting feedback from many of y'all, as well as listening to those that are in the field of higher education, we're now saying, hey, y'all know you've got bad programs out there. Either people aren't taking them or they're not being employed or staying in state afterwards. So now this year, we want to make sure that you're eliminating those. And they need to eliminate 50% of those in this report. And so, Mr. Speaker, colleagues, that is what SC First is this year. And you heard my colleague mention, and he's appreciative, as I think many of y'all are, we were more in line with the governor's budget this year. If you notice, each of these schools are receiving half of what they got last year. And that's much less than what they asked for. So think about that. They came to us with a figure saying, if this is what we need based off our formula, because by the way, we made them submit formulas, So this is what we need based off our formula in order to not raise in-state tuition. And so if you look at it, we basically said, okay, not only are we not going to give you that, we're going to give you half of what we gave you last year. So some could be up here arguing that we need more tuition mitigation. I understand the counterpart there, and we will continue to modify this throughout the years. I will end with this and say, just to make sure there's no confusion, the limitation that is on the universities is that they may not raise tuition on anyone in state. We had discussed last year, hey, if you come in as a freshman, you'll pay that same thing, but the next freshman class, they can be raised more. No, that's not how it works. You're not raising it on anybody. We will see this up again. I don't know how much I'll talk about it. I'm going to yield my time. We can vote, and I can take questions on other amendments, but move to table.
You have some questions you wish to, okay. The question is adoption of amendment number 74. Mr. Ballantyne moves to table amendment number 74. Mr. Beach asks for a roll call. Do 9 members second his request? 9, I can't count you again, Mr. Beach. 9 members do not. Question is adoption of amendment number 70, tabling amendment number 74. All in favor of tabling amendment number 74, say aye. All opposed, no. And the ayes have it. Amendment number 74 has been tabled. Clerk will read.